What's a number one killer in aviation? Unintentional flight from VFR into instrument conditions, followed by spatial disorientation. This safety issue has gotten a lot of attention lately after the NTSB officially announced that it was the probable cause of the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash. One company has developed new technology to help pilots train to recover from spatial disorientation. AOPA Live's Josh Cochran has the story.
It's a situation helicopter and airplane pilots want to avoid: taking off in marginal weather and flying into the clouds unintentionally. New technology from AT Systems is helping pilots to train for the transition from VMC to IMC. Their ATS device is a shield that goes in front of the pilot's eyes. The shield is connected to an iPad, and with a push of a button, the visibility that the pilot experiences is reduced. The system was developed by two military helicopter pilots, Tyson Phillips and Andre Lavalle.
What really led to it was the accident in 2015 with the Louisiana National Guard. You take an aircraft, fully coupled autopilot, very experienced air crew, and I was driving down the road, and Andre called me and said, why? How can this continue happening? We've got better equipment, very experienced pilots. How does it keep happening? And it really just developed from there.
The two believe there's a gap in training that is leading to these types of accidents.
Everyone I talk to a lot of people, and they always ask me why can helicopter pilots not fly instruments, and that's not the case. Helicopters and helicopter pilots can fly instruments just fine. The problem is that transition period where the eyes and the ears and the brain are struggling because no previous training to base it off of.
The gap in training is due to some limitations in the current training tools. The NTSB addressed this in their briefing about the Kobe Bryant crash.
I'm a big proponent of simulation as opposed to going into the aircraft, but particularly when you're trying to do spatial disorientation, we don't get the full sense of vestibular disturbances without having some external motion in the process. And motion visual simulators are pretty good at that, but they're still not the aircraft itself.
A vestibular illusion is a false feeling about what the aircraft is doing caused by the inner ear. With the ATS system, pilots can experience the true feeling of spatial disorientation and fly in real-world weather scenarios.
We take accident scenarios, accidents that have happened in the real world, and we replicate that visibility condition for the pilot. And the thought behind that is pilots, for the most part, are type A personalities. And we wanted to make the training as realistic as possible. What we didn't want to have is, well, that's not realistic. That's not how it really happened. We removed that discussion because this is what happened, and this was a fatal accident.
The training emphasizes the need to avoid bad weather situations like this in the first place, and the pilots can train and reduce visibility all the way from takeoff to touchdown.
Now we're going to be able to train them all the way down to minimums. That critical landing phase that we've skipped, and again, I think that's where you're going to see the industry go, because now we can control both the clouds and the visibility, creating more realistic IMC training, but also much more realistic spatial orientation training as it relates to IIMC.
Josh Cochran, AOPA Live.
Right now, the ATS system is primarily for helicopter pilots, but the company is also working on a fixed wing version.